Happy Friday, everybody. It is so great to see everybody. We've been off for 2 weeks. I'm Linda, and this is Carl. And we're Colourwerx Designs coming to you from beautiful Palm Desert, California. I see everybody is checking in as usual. But guess what today is? Today is... Yay! Yes, sirree, it is Fab Friday. It is so great to be back with you. We've been off for 2 weeks. We've been busy teaching around the country, virtually, of course, and also getting some things ready in the design studio. You can see behind me the hint of our new Quilt Along, which is Modbox, starting on May 4th. Today is episode number 37. Go ahead and hit that share button right below me or above me. Share us with friends, family, groups, anybody. We love to grow our Colourwerx group here. Let's see who's checking in from where, Carl. I see we have lots of people. Suzanne, good morning. And I see we have Nancy checking in, and hello, Pat from North Carolina, and Anna from Georgia. You guys are so nice to be commenting all the time and saying hello. It's great.
Nedra's in Washington.
Nedra, hello, my good friend Nedra. I miss you terribly, but you're in Washington, I think, visiting grandchildren.
There's Mary in Texas.
And Mary, good morning. And Julie, our good friend from Oceanside. Suzanne from Georgia. I don't want to miss anybody. Becky. See, we've all been too far apart for too long, for 2 weeks.
Sandra's got a beautiful spring.
What a beautiful spring.
in
You know,
Missouri.
it's been very nice here, and I see Teddy just checked in. Everybody needs to go check out Teddy's block clock she made on her Instagram page, Teddy Patterson, if I can say that. She made a beautiful, we posted it on our Instagram page too. So that was very nice of Teddy to make a block clock, and it came out wonderful. And that was from episode number 32 of our Fab Friday. It's a tutorial that Carl did a couple weeks ago about taking orphaned blocks and making a block clock, basically, from them. So yes, we've been off and out and about for 2 weeks now. It's a glorious spring day here in Palm Desert. We finally got rid of our turbulent wind, although we cleaned the back patio, over the weekend, and now it's dusty and dirty and sandy again. So guess what we'll be doing this weekend? But let's check in with the Cactus Cam. Is anything going on out there?
Just a nice day.
Just a beautiful day. Look at that view. The mountains are clear. Now, it wasn't so clear 24 hours ago.
No.
24 hours, you could not see that back mountain range of the Coachella Valley. It was filled with sand and dust and everything flying around. So,
but what we did see was some new chicks.
Yes, we do have ducklings.
Little
ducklings
in the
lake there,
yeah.
The pondette.
Yes,
ducklings in the pondette pond are always fun. So yes, good morning, good afternoon. Hello, everybody. It is Friday. We're going to give away our $10 Colourwerx gift card from 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I did a tutorial on quilting and embellishing Carl's little art quilt. So if you wanted to check out that would be episode number 35 and 36 of Fab Friday on our Colourwerx YouTube channel. That's where 35 is where Carl actually used a photo, and he made a little, he did the photo as inspiration.
Did a wall hanging.
And you did a little fast and fused art quilt. And then the next episode, which is episode 36, I quilted it for him using decorative stitches and things of that nature. So go check those out. Those are great little tutorials to get you going in your sewing machine with all your decorative stitches. But the question of the week, 2 weeks ago, was what is your favorite embellishment to use on quilting or on your quilts? And the winner of the $10 Colourwerx gift card is... Paulette, congratulations. I will get you that Colourwerx gift card to you via email. Just look in your email. You should have the little email from the shop there, and it's good. It never expires. So thank you, everybody, for chiming in. And, of course, everybody who comments during the broadcast or after the broadcast goes into the random thingamajizer, and we pick a winner every episode. So let's talk about the new Quilt Along, shall we?
Sure.
The new Quilt Along is Modbox, and it's starting May 4th. You don't need to do anything to join along with this Quilt Along. All you need is the pattern. It's a beautifully easy pattern to do. It's really fun to do. It looks great in so many different color combinations. This is looks complicated, but it's not pattern designed by Carl.
Because I have to make it.
Why is it looks complicated, but it's not? Because
Carl has to make it.
you have to make it. That's
I
right.
have to build it, sew it, and make it.
And this is a wonderful pattern. So there's 3 sizes in the pattern. You can choose to make a table runner, which you can do out of scraps or fat ace. You can do a baby quilt, scraps or fat ace or fat quarters. And you can also do the large lap size that you see there in the picture, which is 72 by 84. It's a wonderfully manly quilt if you're looking for something for a guy. And our Quilt Along is going to start May 4th. So like I said, you don't need anything except the pattern to join along. We will put out blog posts instructing whatever that week's assignment is in our blog, on the newsletter, on the Colourwerx Facebook Quilt Along page. And the schedule is, Carl just went off that page. Let's go back there.
I didn't know where you were going.
I know. Well, let's go back to that card. May 4th is the kickoff. So May 4th, we're going to talk about, you need to get your pattern. We're going to talk about different color combinations for you. So you're going to gather your fabrics on the week of May 4th. May 11th, I'm going to show you some different ways of laying out your fabrics and the color order you can do. And we're also going to pre-cut our fabrics. May 18th, which is week 3, we piece the blocks. May 5th, we're going to put it all together. So it's a 4-week, pretty fast quilt along. And it should be fun. I'm going to be doing mine out of a beautiful selection of Kay Fawcett fabrics that Free Spirit Fabrics just sent me. The one behind me that you see is the one I just did for Island Boutiques out of their beautiful solids. And so if you like the one behind me, which makes a 72-inch by 84-inch quilt, you can pick up a kit for this in our Colourwerx shop, which includes the pattern. So if you go to our colourwerx.com page, go down to the shop tab, go to new, you're going to find also Modbox patterns are now 20% off. So if you don't have the pattern, it's 20% off. And if you want a kit, you can buy this kit at the new page on colourwerx.com. So that is our new quilt along starting May 4th. So we hope you join us all, or you can join the Colourwerx Quilt Along page, which is on Facebook here. And everybody's free to join. There is no fee to do this. All you need is the Modbox pattern, which is now 20% off. So I hope you'll join us on that one.
A couple of more check-ins.
Oh, hi, Kim. How nice to see you. And who else? Oh, Lena. Hello, Lena. Lena was in one of my workshops lately. And Teddy says,
I had a question.
Will Modbox work with prints? Yes, absolutely. And that's what I'm going to do in the next couple weeks. So if you're on the Colourwerx Facebook page, you'll see these posts up first. But if you come join us in 2 weeks here on the Fab Friday broadcast, I'm going to show you a bunch of different Modbox versions that I have done or recolored, so that you can give you some ideas of what you can do with the Modbox pattern in the way of prints, solids, and tone on tones and all that stuff. So I hope that helps you guys. Good morning, Laura. I see you're checking in from Upland too. So our tutorial today is not really a tutorial. It's more of a trunk show. We thought it would be fun. We have so many new members coming into the Colourwerx Quilt Along page. We have so many new members joining us on Instagram here and Facebook that we thought it would be fun to take you all the way back to where our business began almost 22 years ago and show you some of the LInderella quilt work patterns and talk about the inspiration behind those, because some of them they're quite kooky, the inspiration. I mean, it's not kind of what you think. So anyway, long story short, I started quilting 22 years ago. And when I went to go make my 3rd quilt, I couldn't find any patterns I liked in the quilt shop. So we ended up, Carl and I, designing our own pattern, which launched our first pattern company, which was called LInderella's Quiltworks. And we basically started it as a part-time business. Both of us were working in TV and film. I was working at Walt Disney Imagineering as a project manager. Carl was going all around Hollywood as an art director and a production designer, working for the likes of American Gladiators, Judge Judy, PBS. He did sets for David Bowie and all this other stuff. And so we never intended this to be a full-time business, but this pattern helped it to become what it is today, what you see as Colourwerx. So let's start with the trunk show. The very first pattern was, it was actually called My Kingdom for a Toad. Now this might look familiar to you because this has been re-released in the last year as Mod Frog. So it was so popular, it sold over 75,000 copies, this particular pattern. And it used to be used by all the sewing machine manufacturers like Bernina and Husqvarna Viking to teach people how to applique with and things of that nature. But basically, this was the 3rd quilt I ever made. and it was the first pattern I ever designed, and it was based on a helium balloon I had found, of all things, at the Ralph's grocery store of this frog. And I thought, well, he's kind of a kooky character, and I think I'll design this quilt around it. And I used all these fabrics that I had found or bought at the recent Road to California show when I had taken a class with Freddie Moran, who taught me everything about color, basically. So this is called originally My Kingdom for a Toad, but it is now called Mod Frog. But this was the first pattern that launched the pattern company. And I remember when I put this out, I was scared to death that nobody would want to pay $7 per pattern for this. So I chocked it full, if you can believe it, of 4 or 5 or 3 or 4 techniques. So there's applique with the frogs, there's a kind of a wonky piecing in the middle, and then there's this pieced border. And I thought, I have to put lots of techniques in this pattern because nobody's going to want to buy a pattern of just some frogs for $7. Well, they loved it, so I don't know what to say. So anyway, the second pattern, let's see. Oh, Secret Santa. So this is a funny one. This was a cute little pattern that came out after the frogs, and I couldn't, I don't have any art training, so I would just sit and sketch these things at night while watching TV, come up with a little character, maybe use a greeting card as inspiration or some other picture I found.
Me.
Or Carl, that's right. But I couldn't draw hands, okay? So that's why the hands of Secret Santa are behind his back, because I couldn't draw hands, so that was the natural thing. Carl said, put the hands behind the back. And I thought, oh, okay, that'll work. So that's how the hands ended up behind the back on Secret Santa. So we'll go to the next one and see what we've got. Cool Cats. Okay, so this was another best-selling pattern in Linderella's. And I might add that some of these patterns are still in print. We have some of them up on our website for $5 each. Back in the heyday, you couldn't do print on demand like you can do today. So you had to print like
hundreds of thousands.
1,000 copies at a time, or sometimes that was your minimum run, 1,000 copies. Or sometimes, if you thought it was going to be a bestseller, you might print 5,000 or 10,000 copies. So we do have some copies left over. So if you check our website at Linderella's Patterns, you might find copies of these patterns to purchase for $5 each if you like these patterns. So this is Cool Cats, and this is, oh, thank you. Nancy said she just ordered the Modbox kit. Thank you, Nancy. So this is Cool Cats, and this was based on, we were flying, or at least I was, up and down to Las Vegas. This was when the Venetian was being built. If anybody remembers the Venetian Hotel, I was bidding out entertainment with an entertainment company for the Venetian Hotel for their opening, week entertainment stuff, fireworks spectaculars and things like that. So we, of course, were inundated with Frank, Dean, and Sammy Davis as the Rat Pack. And so that was the inspiration behind the Cool Cats, which was Frank, Sammy, and Dean as the Rat Pack. And I thought, well, these cats are kind of cool. Although some people mistook these cats as monsters, I think, at some point. I don't know.
I guess so.
But everybody loved the arms. They could move around the arms and legs and make them dance and things like that. So we have the next one, which is Sheila Moore. So this was Why Not? I
think it was Finding Nemo was out.
Well, I'm not sure Finding Nemo was out, but I thought, why can't we have kissing fish? I mean, who doesn't love fish under the sea, falling in love with heart bubbles, kissing? So why not? So that was Sheila Moore, and that was fun. And you can see the slash and sew in the background of kind of slashing the background and putting in these like shards of lime green as kind of the light filtering through the ocean, if you will. I remember I designed it. I thought, oh, that's so super cool.
Why not?
Ahead of our time, I guess. So, and the next one is, Love Bugs. This has a funny story. So again, late at night, I'm doodling. I'm thinking I got to come up with a new quilt because Quilt Market's coming.
Midnight.
I'm watching this horrible Lifetime movie film about domestic violence. It was one of those horrible movies that were really popular, I think, with Lindsay Wagner.
It was with Lindsay Wagner, yes.
And she is the abused wife, young wife of a very stern man, and who beats her up. And I'm watching this film, and out comes this bug. on the paper. So don't ask me what the correlation is there, but that I guess that would be the inspiration for these super love bugs is some kind of domestic violence movie on Lifetime
Needed
Network.
a super lover.
Who knows? Lindsay needed a super lover after her $6 million man retreated. I have no idea, but that was love bugs. And I remember this was a phase I was in too, where if you notice, I went through a phase where I didn't like any, I wanted more solid or modeled solids of bright colors. For some reason, I kind of ventured away from any prints or fabrics that had large prints in them. And so everything became these modeled solid things going on all the time.
And you'd actually worked out your hands, kind of.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and I had worked out a way of doing hands at that point, of course, but we were still doing all the kind of, you can see the very theatricality going on where everything has moving parts. So if you wanted to change the love bugs to flying like the V bug is, or, some kind of stance, you could do that. You could change the legs and the arms and all that stuff. So next one is, let's see. Beauty Bunch. Okay, so this is super fast. This was designed. I had this flower kind of idea, and I was watching the Brady Bunch reruns. Of course, that's what the grid is doing there. That's the Brady Bunch influence. But this is all the girls I really hated in high school. I mean, that's as simple as it gets. I was in the drama class. I was the president of the drama club. I was in marching band. So we were kind of the misfits of the high school. And of course, the cheerleaders were in the center of the quad there all the time, making fun of everybody. So you can tell that these are all the girls that would, get snarky there in the center of the quad, especially that middle one. If you look at the face on that middle flower, that was like the head cheerleader that we all were like, oh, God, who does she think she is? So that's where Beauty Bunch was designed from. And Monkey Business. Okay, so Monkey Business was actually Carl's idea based on the Marx Brothers. So if you think about any Marx Brothers movies, you've got the four guys, clowning around, or even the Three Stooges when they were Four Stooges, I guess, But we thought, why not? We could have flying monkeys. And this was another very popular LInderella pattern. People loved this. They could make just one and put it on a pillow. And you can see the influence of Jan Mullen there, who's an Australian quilter who's now gone into sculpting. All her fabrics were in play here. They were beautiful, bright colored fabrics. I so wish that she is still designing fabrics to this day. But
yes, you got away from your solid points at that point.
I did. I got away from the solid print. So what is the next one? Let's see. Miss Daisy. This was just a fun one. Nope, I don't show this that often because it's a small quilt, but this was my rickrack phase. So I became infatuated with the Walmart rickrack that you see going around the border here. And I thought, this is the best thing since sliced bread. What is this multicolored, huge jumbo rickrack? And I would buy packs and packs and packs of it and use it as flower stems and use it, like, as you see here, as a border. And I wanted, whatever way I could incorporate it, I had to incorporate it. So this, again, was based on, I think, maybe a greeting card I had found of this cute little cat roaming through flowers. And I thought, well, I'll just take this one off. So I see we have some comments coming in about the high school drama, you guys. So that is funny. Yes, everybody can relate to that, I think, the high school drama. Okay, Playtime. This was super fun. So this was, again, this is still kind of in my solid phase going on, you can see there. But this was more of wanting to create something that people could personalize for their grandkids or for their children or something of that nature. So we came up with 6 character-driven kind of kids with different hairstyles and different outfits on and things like that.
You can mix and match all the pieces.
And you could mix and match all the pieces. So it was kind of like color form. I guess the inspiration for this would be, I remember the color form vinyls when I was a kid, and you could mix and match, shapes and clothing and things like that. And so that's kind of what our inspiration for the Playtime pattern was. We wanted people to be able to personalize this, and people did. We had several grade school teachers that used this pattern as like making a kind of a charity quilt of their classroom or the kids in the class. So each kid would take their own character and personalize it to themselves. We had grandmothers that used this, and they took the baby's clothing and cut out the shapes of the shirts or the pants and made, personalized quilts of their grandchildren for the parents and things like that. Color forms, that was it. Yes, thank you, Nancy. Color forms, and so that was the vinyl. So that was Playtime. That was kind of the inspiration there of Playtime. What we go, and this is just an array of some other ones. So yeah, Gorgeous George. That was actually when we lived in Lovettsville, Virginia, and we had a herd of cows across the way. Now they weren't. All they did was eat grass. So there were 18 cows. When we lived on 10 acres in Northern Virginia, if you can believe it. And it was rather like Green Acres between Carl and I, if you remember the series Green Acres. So we had a tractor and all this stuff. But the herd of cows
transplants from Hollywood, California.
Yeah, transplants from Southern California
to 10 acres
into
of
Northern
nothing.
Virginia,
Yes.
right at the base of the Blue Ridge. Talk about laughs. Okay. But Gorgeous George was kind of a tribute to the cow herd across the way. And of course, they had to have long legs. And this is the start of the wonky piecing and kind of cutting shapes out of the wonky piecing. You can see his spots. They were kind of patchwork pieces, and then I cut the spots out of and appliqued them on out of this patchwork piece of fabric, basically. And then, of course, the chicks on top, that was, I can't even remember, that was called the Chickettes.
That was based on the Rockettes.
That was based on the Rockettes, yes. And
yes.
we had just been to New York doing shows. And so I came back, and it was kind of very Bob Fosse-like, if you know the choreographer, or the movie All That Jazz with Roy Scheider. That's a great movie. And it was all about that and like Las Vegas showgirls, Rockettes, and things like that. Boogie Birds.
And they actually have jewel.
Yeah, they actually have a jewel on their tiara. I was really into, at this time, using embellishments on the quilt. So anytime I was fascinated into the Michaels jewelry section. So anytime I went into the Michaels jewelry section, Michaels Arts and Crafts, and found some trollop, some diamond thing, some button, it was like, oh, I must buy 6,000 of these and use them somewhere on a quilt. So that was kind of the story behind that. And then the Boogie Birds, which is the one on the black background, kind of lower left, that was based on Baryshnikov. So I used to do a lot of stage management and a lot of production management for ballet companies. And of course, everybody wanted to be Baryshnikov. And so that was my kind of ode to Mikhail Baryshnikov. He was just retiring at the time. And you can see there's one bird that's kind of like, I don't know, he's kind of jumping this way with his two legs this way. That was kind of Mikhail Baryshnikov going on. And then Flower Turtle. Wait a minute.
That we originally titled that one, not Boogie Birds, but Saturday Night Feather.
Oh, yes, it was called Saturday Night Feathers.
But we were going to get into trouble.
You're right. It was called Saturday Night Feathers. The Boogie Birds one was. And I thought, oh my God, we're going to get hit with a copyright lawsuit because Saturday Night Fever had come out. And there's no way they're going to let us call this silly quilt pattern Saturday Night Feathers. I mean, I should have probably called it that. I don't think anybody would have cared. But it ended up being called Boogie Birds, basically.
I like that better.
For Saturday Night Fever and for Mikhail Baryshnikov, basically. And then we have Flower Power, which was based on another. I used to go find Hallmark greeting cards that I liked. And if the kind of whatever the illustration on the front was kind of fun, I might take that home and kind of make it my own and look at that as inspiration. So that was another one, but that is definitely during my solid fabric days.
And that's all applique.
And it's all applique.
It's not one fussy cut piece.
No, it's not. A lot of people think the turtle shell is one piece of fabric. It's not. All those flowers are appliqued on. So this was definitely during my, I love to applique move in a moment. And also, I didn't like anything with too many designs in the fabrics, as you can see. So everything became these modeled solids. And so these are some more LInderella patterns. And then I think we go into, yes, the Ice Cream for Halloween series. Okay, so quickly, we were big Halloween freaks when we lived in California. We still are, but nobody trick-or-treats anymore. So, but this was the first of the Ice Cream for Halloween series. It's called Happy Jacks. And again, this was like the third pattern I designed. It ends up getting the first number, but it's the third pattern I designed. And again, I was really paranoid that nobody would pay $7 per pattern for just some happy jack-o'-lanterns that you applique on, that nobody would pay for that design. So I had to add in all this other stuff like flying geese and piecing and things like that. So that was just kind of an ode to happy jack-o'-lanterns, if you will, which then led to probably the most famous Halloween quilt we've done, excuse me, which is called Bat Magic. And that is based on Harry Potter. So Harry Potter had just come out, the first movie. This is an ode to Harry Potter, but it was also like, who doesn't want these wacky wizard-like bats? At one point, we had talked about, Carl and I, coming up with a whole bunch of fabric lines based on these bats for Halloween and giving them all, the three of them a different name, like Orville or something, and Wendell the bat, and things like that, and coming up with stories, like maybe a children's story. I mean, all these great ideas.
We still might.
We might do it, but that was the second one. And then we go to the third one, which is, oh yes. So these are two. So Happy Hauntings, which is the one on your left, was on the Quick Quilts cover. We used to do a lot of work for Quick Quilts magazines when we had LInderellas. We were in there about every 2 months. And so we had a great relationship with Beth Hayes. So that was the cover, and that was kind of just a fun, easygoing quilt to do with these happy ghosts. And then Ragtag and Bootail was kind of based on, I don't know, it's kind of based on Charlie Brown Halloween, trick-or-treating, and things like that. So, but Ragtag and Bootail is a small little applique quilt. I do think we still have that in stock, but it was super fun to design that one.
And then the applique bats in the middle.
And I always wanted my quilts to tell a story. That was the other thing. So when you looked at a quilt design or an applique pattern, I really wanted them to have movement. And I also wanted them to actually, when you looked at the illustration or the quilt itself, you could actually envision some type of story going on between these two little characters, and they're being freaked out by their little jack-o'-lantern, and the bats are flying, and they're trick-or-treating, and, all that stuff going on. So what's next? Pumpkin Divas. Now, this was an interesting, silly story. This was in one of the magazines, but there's a button company out there called Just Another Button Company. You guys might know it. But they sent me some buttons, and they were these spider buttons. And I sat around with them for about a good year and thought, what can I do with them? And finally, I decided I'm going to make these pumpkin diva heads and put these spider buttons in their hats. And so really, the hat was designed first. I was thinking about doing like a haberdashery hat quilt with these spiders in the hats, like a Halloween thing. And then these pumpkin divas just kind of came out with their sunglasses and those silly lips. And of course, our fabric line is in the middle of those glasses. The sexy S fabric design that we did. Yes. So Susan goes, I remember seeing those in a magazine. Yes. They were very, very popular. Pumpkin Divas. And what's next? I think this is the last one. I Scream for Halloween. This was called Eek. That's all it is. Eek. Spiders, right? And this one was the start of using Minky. So Beth Hayes, the editor at Quick Quilts, this was when Minky was coming really popular. And she said, Linda, what can you do with Minky? And so there's a couple quilts that I'm going to show you. So this was the first one that I did with Minky. And I made these wacky spiders. So if you can, Minky, it's furry fabric. So those spiders and their legs are all cut out of Minky. So you do need to keep a lint roller close and handy with you when you're cutting Minky. You just put the fusible web on the back and treat it just like you would any other machine applique piece. But this one was really fun. We did a tote bag
and you got
a table runner
too in this one.
And there's rickrack. So if you look really closely, you can see going through the table runner there, like Carl pointed out, there's black rickrack going through as kind of like a spider web thing hanging with them. But this was a super fun quilt to do. And then speaking of Minky, so these are the other two popular Minky patterns that came out with Quick Quilts. One was called on the top, Dancin' and Prancin' Reindeer. And the one on the bottom, which we put it out last year as a free pattern when the pandemic started. It's either called Hip Chicks or it's known as Easter Chicks. I don't know. But some people call it Hip Chicks. Some people call it Easter Chicks. I can't remember what the magazine called it, but were the originals, as you can see, were all done. The shapes are out of furry Minky.
Tactile quilts.
Tactile quilts.
You can
feel them up, so to speak. So those were some of our magazine quilts. I think I have a couple other, this is a slide of some more magazine quilts that you might find in Quick Quilts. Like I said, we were in there every couple months. So we have, I can't even remember the name of the 4th of July one. And then there was Autumn Leaves. and there was Tipsy Trees, and then the one on the top there with the cats was just a fun table runner, again, during my solid phase, as
We
you
call
can
that
tell.
one Hello.
Yes, I think we called it Hello there. And so it's like the cat is watching the bird walk by, and then the bird walks by the other way. Again, we wanted all our quilts to tell a story.
And have a happy end.
And, well, I don't know, is that a happy ending?
Yeah, the bird's sitting
Well, how
and
do
the
you know
cat's
it's a
smiling.
happy? How do you know it's a
Well,
happy ending?
we could change it.
How do you know? It may not be. Anyway. And then, so then we had our own fabric line. This is another one in Linderella. So in our heyday, as I call it, the Linderella heyday was from about 2000 to about 2006, if you ever followed along with us. So this was our own fabric line. These were, it was called Fun and Bright, or Fab, okay, and it was out for about a year. And I remember we had some people coveting this fabric when it came out. But these were a lot of the quilts that were done for this particular book, which we still have in our store for $5, Fab 5. This was a self-published book, because the story behind this is the fabric line was coming out. We had a contract with Leisure Arts, which I'll show you that book in a minute, to do the fabric with lots of different designs in it. And all of a sudden, Leisure Arts calls us up and goes, oh, sorry, I know you were expecting your book to be published in October when your fabric was coming out, but it's not going to be published now for another couple months. So we were left like sitting there getting ready for Quilt Market.
A week away.
Yeah, we had like 2 weeks, I think. And it was like, well, what are we going to put out with the fabric line? We need patterns. So we came up with five to six patterns that are in this book, as you can see on the cover. And these are some of them, including, which used all the fabric that was in the Fun and Bright fabric line. And if we go to the next slide, that's the infamous Quilted Fab Leisure Arts book
that should have come out.
That should have come out with the fabric line. Thank you. That did not. That's out of print, I must say.
I think it came out 6 months later.
It came out almost, 6 months later. And those are some of the quilts that are in that book, as you can see. And again, you can see the presence of the rick-rack black stems going on.
You had plenty of leftover.
Yes, we had lots of black rick-rack going on. So there you go with that. And then I think we conclude with, so if Carl gets rid of me for a minute, you'll see, there we go. These are the booths. So we were always, as you can say, the brightest booth at Quilt Market. So those yellow drapes served us very well from IKEA.
Like a neon light.
Yes, and nobody was doing booths like this. Now, when you go to Quilt Market now, or you go to any of the quilt shows, vendors' booths have come a long way since we were doing this back in, this is like 2002, 2006. And we would get to Houston, which is where the Quilt Market would happen, or wherever it was going. We'd rent a car, we'd go out to the local IKEA, and we'd pick up whatever we needed. Now, the drapes, the yellow drapes came with us. We would have to ship those in. And they were the heaviest friggin' drapes ever, because they were fire retardant. So they were this heavy canvas, bright yellow fabric from IKEA that was fire retardant, which made them even heavier to ship in. But Carl would spend hours at before market preparing all of those little shapes that you see cut out. So we reused our grass that he cut out of foam core, I don't know how many times, to do the entrance to the booth. We would change up whatever was going around the outside of the booth, either spirals or flowers, and Carl would cut all of those things out of foam core, or we'd print them on huge pieces of photo fabric and things like that. Then we would go out to the local IKEA when we arrived in town and go get what you see is on the floor there. So IKEA would have, if you remember IKEA back in 2003, they'd have these wonderful shaped kind of kid rugs, ladybugs or triangles or things like that you could purchase.
From the kids department.
Yeah, it was from the kids department at IKEA. And you could purchase these things for like $1 each or $2 each. It was the most magnificent booth decor you can possibly imagine. And what was the funniest thing in the world is people would love, the other vendors would come by, because a lot of times when you're shipping things like this out of town from your home base, you're not going to take most of this home with you. You're going to actually, it's too expensive, right, to ship it back, except for the drapes, of course, which would come in a suitcase, and the quilts. So vendors from our neighboring vendors at these quilt markets would come by our booth and start to dib or put their name and tag what they wanted. And it was great because we got this reputation of going, oh, everybody has to go to Linderella's booth. You must go to Linderella's booth. She's giving away the ladybug rugs at the end of the market. Oh, go to the booth at Linderella's. She's going to be giving away, those wire crates, so we could use those in our shop. Go tag them. Anyway, that was the booths. Carl designed all the booths, and we were always the brightest booth. There's a picture which I couldn't find in all of our glory, which looks down on the quilt market floor from above. And all you see all these other booths, but in the middle of all this sea of like kind of brown and black and drapes and things, you see a bright yellow spot, which is our booth. So, and Pat Sloan's husband, Greg, took that picture, and I can't find a copy of it, but it is a funny picture from that time. So there you go. You guys are wonderfully nice. Thank you for indulging us. That is a little history of Linderella's Quiltwerx, which was our first pattern company from 2002 to 2006-07. And then we moved to North Carolina thinking we were going to do this pattern company full time. And we ended up opening the quilt shop under the same name, which is Linderella's Quiltwerx.
And there's another
for 8
story.
years. And that's another story into itself, a chapter of our wonderful relationship, isn't it, Carl?
It was good.
Yes, it was. It was. It was. So we do this full time now. Yes, everybody wants to know. This is a MOA. Pauline was like, what is that on my necklace? This is called a MOA, and this is considered a good luck tiki charm for anybody who's into tiki. And so I'm wearing this because we're super excited because we're going on Sunday. So watch our Instagram page. I think our friend Jen Hickson will be there too from Palm Springs. We are going to the Aloha Hana Tiki show over in Palm Springs this weekend, which is an outside show where all the tiki vendors will be. And we haven't had one here for quite a while. So we're looking forward to getting and purchasing some more tiki paraphernalia for the condo here, for the design house. So I hope you enjoyed that trunk show. You guys were really nice to indulge us on that journey. And of course, if you like any of those patterns, check our website to see if any or more. We did probably over, in the time that we did Linderella's, I think we designed over 100 patterns.
Actually went over that.
Yeah, maybe more.
Plus magazines.
We did a lot of magazine work, but in the sense of self-publishing patterns, it was probably in the neighborhood of anywhere from actual self-publishing patterns, 50 patterns at some point. And we still have a lot of those in, printed patterns left that are up for grabs at $5 in our Colourwerx shop. So I hope you guys all enjoyed the trunk show. So of course, the question to enter for the $10 Colourwerx gift card, which we'll give away in 2 weeks, is what's your favorite Linderella pattern? And if you can't remember, you can just go to the website and look at some and put a name there. Or you can put frog, fish, cat. Cat you'll hit because there were 3 different cat patterns, I think. Monkeys, and of course bats. Yeah, bat magic. So anyway, please like and share this particular episode. Make sure you share it with your groups. And before we bug out of here, let's see. Everybody is being very, very nice. Look at that. Nedra goes, my son is way into tiki. He might need a mod tiki there, Nedra. And Nancy says, enjoyed the trunk show. Thank you, Nancy, very much. Thank you, guys. You guys are so nice. And Julie says, every time I drive past your front, I feel so nostalgic.
Storefront.
Yes, because Julie has grandbabies she visits in Southern Pines. And that's where our storefront for Linderella's was. And that's how we met Julie. So she came into our store as a customer, and we forged a beautiful friendship from there on in. So thank you, Julie, very much. You guys are so nice. So anyway, like and share this video. Make sure that you subscribe to our Colourwerx YouTube channel so you don't miss any episodes. Now, we're going to be back in 2 weeks, and we're going to probably start doing these every 2 weeks now because our design schedule, our quilt making schedule, our teaching schedule is gangbusters, and we appreciate that. So, but it just doesn't allow us a lot of time to prepare tutorials either. So, but we're going to be coming on live impromptu, so look out for that and all those other great things that Facebook and Instagram offer us to do. Should we check the Cactus Cam?
Sure, let's see what the weather's doing.
Nothing again. We had golfers earlier.
Look, there's one in the far distance just drove by.
Oh.
But look, the clouds
it's a
are clearing
beautiful
up.
day, though. It's a beautiful day here in Palm Desert compared to all the 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts we were having at one point. So don't forget, the Modbox Quilt Along is starting May 4th.
I'm going to flash back to that.
Flash back to that card. You can get a kit for that beautiful 72 by 84 inch quilt up on our website. The Modbox pattern, if you're going to participate with us on the Modbox Quilt Along, is now 20% off until, I believe I have that going until the end of the first weeks, which would be like May 8th or May 12th or something. So you can get it in PDF or paper format. There are 3 different sizes in the pattern. You can do a table runner, you can do a baby quilt, and you can do the version you see behind me, which is a large lap quilt.
And you can use prints.
You can use prints, which I'll show you, and I'll be flashing those up on the Instagram pages and the Facebook pages, putting posts out. And again, I hope you join us. You don't need to do anything to join except get the pattern. You can choose to join our Colourwerx Quilt Along Facebook group where people share their progress, share photos, ask questions, and all that, but you don't have to. We always put a blog post out each week telling you what that week's assignment is for the Quilt Along. And we have all of our other Quilt Alongs if you wanted to join in on the other 6 Quilt Alongs. Those are up on our Colourwerx.com page under the Quilt Along tab. So you can always access all of those videos, all of the blog posts that went with them, and all of the tips and tricks for all those Quilt Alongs right up on our Colourwerx.com page. So that is it. What is Pat saying about Warren Beatty? There's a comment Pat's making about, what? I like the Warren Beatty quilt.
The Warren Batty.
Oh, Warren Batty. Is that the name of the bats?
That's what she's calling it.
Warren Batty. Oh, I see. I see. Okay. Yes.
And with that.
And with that, we are out of here. So we are going to see you April, I can't even believe I'm saying this, April 30th. I would say happy tax day, but I don't think it's, the tax day is here. It's like you guys have another month, I think, right? So it was tax day yesterday, but it's kind of happy tax day because it's the day after tax day. But we are going to see you April 30th. I can't believe it's almost the end of April. Again on the Fab Friday broadcast. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Happy Colouricious quilting. Go check out those LInderella patterns. Please share this video with everybody that you want to share it with. And we will see you soon. Bye-bye.